In a quiet corner of Poor Valley, where stars whisper to the river and dreams glow in the dark, a loving mama cat and her curious little kitten set out to catch the light of the night itself, crescent-shaped moon. Yellow heart. This is the magical story of how fireflies turned their darkest night into a home full of love and hope. The night sky above Poor Valley was glowing softly with stars, but down in the little wooden house by the river, everything was dark. A gentle breeze blew through the curtains, and the sound of crickets filled the air. Inside, Mama Cat sat quietly by the window, staring at the dim oil lamp that flickered weakly. The flame was small and tired, just like her after a long day of work. Ginger Kitten, her curious and energetic little boy, was sitting nearby with wide, shining eyes. "Mama," he said softly, "why is our lamp so weak? I can barely see your face." Mama Cat smiled tiredly. "The oil is almost finished, my dear. We'll need to buy more tomorrow." But Ginger's imagination was already running wild. "What if," he said excitedly, "we could make our own light? A magic light that never goes out." Mama Cat chuckled gently. "And where would we find such magic, my little dreamer?" Ginger turned to the window and pointed outside, where dozens of tiny fireflies were dancing in the darkness. "Right there, Mama. The stars came down to visit us." Mama Cat followed his gaze and smiled. The night was indeed magical. Tiny dots of golden light drifted over the garden, blinking softly like the sky had sprinkled stars on earth. "Fireflies," she said lovingly. "They're nature's little lanterns." Ginger gasped. "Then maybe we can borrow some light from them, just for tonight." Mama Cat laughed softly. "Borrow light from fireflies? You're full of ideas, aren't you?" But Ginger's determination made her pause. He wasn't just being playful. His eyes shone with hope. Their house had been dim for days, ever since the last bottle of oil had run out. Maybe this was his way of helping. So she nodded gently. "All right then, my little one. Let's catch some stars." That night, under the glowing moon, Mama Cat and Ginger stepped outside with a small glass jar. The grass was cool beneath their paws, and the air smelled of jasmine and fresh earth. Fireflies floated everywhere, blinking gently like tiny fairies. "Wow," Ginger whispered, his eyes wide in wonder. He tiptoed carefully, trying not to scare them away. "How do we catch them, Mama?" he asked. "With care," she said softly. "You don't catch light by chasing it. You wait for it to trust you." Together, they sat quietly under the old oak tree. Slowly, the fireflies began to drift closer, their golden lights flickering in rhythm with the night breeze. Ginger held out the jar, and one by one, the tiny lights flew inside, until the jar glowed like a little lantern. Ginger gasped in amazement. "We did it, Mama. We caught the stars." Mama Cat smiled, her eyes glistening in the warm light. "You see, my dear, sometimes, when we believe in something enough, the world listens." They carried the glowing jar inside and placed it near the window. The whole room filled with a soft golden glow. The shadows danced gently across the walls, and everything felt warm and alive. Ginger curled up beside his mother and purred happily. "It's so pretty, Mama. It feels like the stars are watching over us." Mama Cat wrapped her tail around him. "They always are, little one, even when we can't see them." For the next few nights, their home shone with the soft light of the fireflies. Ginger named each one Twinkle, Glow, Starbeam, and Luna. He talked to them, told them stories, and sang softly to make them feel at home. Mama Cat watched fondly, her heart swelling with love. The light wasn't just brightening their home, it was brightening their hearts. But as days passed, she noticed something. The fireflies were growing slower, their lights dimmer. One night, she found Ginger sitting by the jar, tears in his eyes. "Mama, they're not happy," he said quietly. "They want to go home." Mama Cat knelt beside him and looked at the tiny creatures flickering weakly inside. She sighed softly. "You're right, my love. Even light needs freedom to shine." Ginger wiped his eyes. "But if we let them go, our home will be dark again." Mama Cat smiled gently. "Maybe, but sometimes, we have to give up something beautiful to make another happy. That's love, my dear." Ginger looked at the jar for a long moment, then nodded bravely. "Okay, Mama, let's set them free. Together." They carried the jar outside. The night was quiet, and the moon hung low above the hills. Mama Cat opened the lid slowly. One by one, the fireflies floated out, blinking gently, as if saying thank you. Ginger watched them rise into the sky until they looked like moving stars again. Goodbye, little lights, he whispered. Thank you for making our home shine. Mama Cat placed a paw on his shoulder. And now, they'll shine over all of Paw Valley, because you cared enough to let them go. As they walked back inside, Ginger felt a strange warmth in his chest. Not from the light, but from something deeper. That night, though their home was dark again, it didn't feel lonely. The moonlight streamed through the window, painting silver lines on the floor, and the sound of the river hummed softly outside. Mama Cat sat by his side and whispered, "See, Ginger, the world always gives light to those who share it." Days turned into weeks. One evening, as Ginger was playing by the river, he noticed something sparkling above the trees. Hundreds of fireflies, more than before, dancing in the sky. It looked like a living constellation. He ran home, breathless. "Mama, come see," she followed him outside, and her eyes widened. The entire valley was glowing. The trees, the grass, even the river shimmered with golden light. The fireflies had returned, bringing their friends with them. Ginger jumped with joy. They came back. Mama. They came back. Mama Cat smiled warmly, tears glistening in her eyes. That's what happens when you do something with love. It always finds its way home. That night, Paw Valley looked like a dream. Every creature, from the tiniest mouse to the wisest owl, watched in awe as the sky lit up with 1,000 fireflies. The glow reached Mama Cat's house, bathing it in soft golden light once again. Ginger sat by the window, gazing at the spectacle outside. "Mama," he whispered, "this is better than any lamp." She nodded softly. "Because this light doesn't come from oil or glass. It comes from kindness." The two sat together in silence, watching the night sky sparkle. The air was calm, filled with peace and magic. Ginger rested his head on her paw. "Mama, can we share this light with others too?" "Of course, my love," she said. "That's what light is meant for, to be shared." The next morning, Ginger went around the village telling all the kittens how to make firefly jars. Not to trap the fireflies, but to invite them, let them glow, and then set them free again. Soon, every house in Paw Valley twinkled softly at night. It became a tradition. Every summer, the kittens would gather near the river, wait for the fireflies, and fill the valley with light. And every time, Mama Cat would smile, remembering the first night her little kitten's dream had lit up their home. Years later, when Ginger had grown into a strong young cat, he still remembered that night. One evening, he sat under the same oak tree with his own tiny kitten, telling her the story. "Once," he said softly, "I caught the stars in a jar with your grandma Mama Cat, but I learned that the brightest lights shine when you let them go." His daughter looked up in wonder. "Did they come back?" Ginger smiled. "They always do, little one. Light always finds its way home." And as he spoke, hundreds of fireflies began to rise again, filling the air with their golden glow, just like they had all those years ago. And somewhere in the stars above Paw Valley, Mama Cat was smiling too, proud of the little kitten who once caught light in a jar, and learned the true meaning of love, kindness, and sharing. Crescent-shaped moon. Yellow heart.